So according to my calendar, this is day 119 of what I'm calling the COVID-19 Detour. Originally, a lot of people talked about taking a pause. And at that time, early on, it was, how long is this pause going to take? A week? 2 weeks? Nobody knew. But I got two questions for you this morning. Question number one is, do you believe that you're going to make it through this, that we are going to prevail, that we're going to get past this, and we're going to come out on the other side? Number two, are you accepting the reality of your situation? Whatever that situation is. And across the country, we all have a slightly different situation. I happen to be in Nebraska, and we haven't had the kinds of issues as many states have. But in some states, things are very locked down and businesses are really struggling. And even in some of those states, there are businesses that are still doing well and they don't understand what all the fuss is. But to a large extent, this pandemic has affected all of us. And the question is, do you believe, regardless of how this is affecting you today, because it is affecting some of us dramatically. I'm normally on the road 230 days a year. I have not been on the road once in the last 119 days. So obviously this is having a huge impact on me. But this is not about me. This is about you and us as leaders. And how are we weathering this storm? And do we believe we're going to get through it? And as we believe that we're going to get through it, are we confronting the brutal facts of our situation and finding ways to navigate through it? Because if you can answer yes to both of those questions, you will be able to avoid something called the Stockdale paradox. On day 2 of the detour, the video that I presented on day 2 talked about the Stockdale paradox and how in a war situation, prisoners of war made it through because they were able to answer yes, and they lived yes to those questions. They believe they're going to get through on the other side, but their reality is they're locked up, they're prisoners of war. They don't know, they don't have an answer of when the war was going to be over, when they would be released. And so they took it day by day, not hoping on next week we're going to be rescued, or in a month we're going to be rescued, or whatever. But I realized yesterday that in some ways, especially as I was talking with other coaches and with clients, we have been living the Stockdale paradox. We keep hoping that next week we're going to be able to get back on the road, that next week auto manufacturing is going to get back to full. A lot of you are struggling because you don't have the inventory now because a lot of the factory shutdowns. We don't know when some of these things are going to be freed up. And we've got to stop hoping on next week. And instead, we've got to say, we don't know when this is going to free up. We don't know. I don't know when I'm going to be able to start traveling again. It is certainly looking very bleak when it comes to airline travel. And there's another element of overnight stays in hotels. That's the reality of the situation. And I realized yesterday it's time for a paradigm shift and stop hoping on that next week I'll be able to get back and seeing my clients face to face. I really would like that to be the case. I know that we will get there. However, right now, we're losing precious time by stalling, by pausing, by not finding a way to make the best of the situation now. So now is the time to find every means possible to make the best of the situation. And if that, in a lot of cases for me, that is having telephone conversations, Zoom conversations. These videos are one of my ways of staying connected with you. So I encourage you as it relates to how you do business with your customers. Not to stall, not to wait, but to find creative ways to work through the situation and just deal with what you've got now. And when things change, get better, then move forward as you're able. But in the meantime, there's way too much information, too much misinformation. And instead, we're kind of spinning ourselves into a tizzy, if you will, in getting frustrated, getting discouraged, and hoping on tomorrow. And in the end, the people in the prisoners of war that eventually died was those who died of a broken heart, who lost hope. Let's not lose hope together. Let's find a way to make the best of our situation now, work through it together, continue to keep plowing forward to serve our customers and to give them the best experience possible. And we will do that if we exercise leadership and we don't live the Stockdale paradox, and we give our people positivity and help them to make the best of the current situation. I hope you will take that to heart. I hope you will make a paradigm shift. If you haven't yet, make that shift today for the betterment of yourself, betterment of your team, and the betterment of your client.